We are so pleased to welcome today the Plymouth County Sheriff Joe McDonald and Lori Sullivan, who's the Community Outreach Specialist for the Sheriff's Department. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Now, before we start, there's some people, believe it or not, that don't really understand what the Sheriff's Department is responsible for. So in a really abbreviated form, can you let us know?
Certainly, yeah, that's not uncommon. I get that question a lot. The Sheriff's Department has been in existence since 1692. We go back to the early days of
way before,
the colony, before much of what we see around us existed. But our basic duties are very simple. We are the county level of corrections, meaning anyone who is serving a sentence, felony or misdemeanor of 2.5 years or less is in the Plymouth County House of Correction. And we are a jail as well. And a jail is where everybody goes when they're held pretrial.
Okay.
In addition to that, we have a lot of community outreach stuff we'll talk about, but we provide support services, communications, canine, a lot of support services to all of our public safety, our police, our fire, our EMS. So we have a lot of responsibility.
Okay. And the county, you cover the entire county, which is 26 towns and the one city of Brockton, correct? Okay, so that's a big area.
It is, yeah.
A lot of people.
About 700 square miles, about 500,000 people.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about, because I was very surprised when I read all this, that you do so much community outreach as the Sheriff's Department. So let's talk about how this has been part of your department for a long time and what the Triad program is, and then we'll get into some specifics.
Sure. You know, community outreach is something that I can really take little credit for. It's something that's been going on going back to the days of Sheriff Peter Flynn. We all remember Sheriff Flynn, and I do hear from Sheriff Flynn from time to time with suggestions and some great ideas. But many of the programs that were started have been there for many, many years. We've expanded some of them and improved a lot of them. But my predecessor sheriffs did a great job with that. And as you pointed out, Lori Sullivan is a specialist in those things. And she's been with us for, gosh, how long have you been with us now?
7 months.
7 months, yeah.
Okay.
You know, she's not yet been there a year, but this really was her specialty.
Yep.
She is great at going out, talking to groups, and letting them know
What you have, and how they can get involved and take advantage of the things that you have.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a few things. Let's talk about first. Let's talk about how you help people identify and protect themselves from scams.
Sure. So basically, when we go out into different towns, COAs, whatever, so we talk about how to prevent yourself from being a target, warning signs, a lot of the robocalls that people are receiving, particularly seniors, they're very easy targets for that. And also emails, because some of these people are not the most computer savvy.
Sure.
So they have issues with that, where they feel like, oh, they have a virus on their computer and they get it pop up and they want to click on it. You need to, put in some of your personal information, and that's how they get tied up in that.
Right.
So it's a lot of different things. So we basically try to talk to them about, basically what's the latest scams, because they're constantly evolving, and they're getting definitely more savvy than they used to be. And they're cloning local phone numbers, they're cloning the Social Security Administration's phone numbers. So there's just a lot of different aspects to this that we're trying to get out there.
And it's mostly the elderly population that you help, because they're the most obviously vulnerable to this.
Yes.
But they're also the least savvy as far as social media and getting on the web and things like that. So when you go for outreach, you have to kind of go where they all are together. So that's why the Council on Aging is a good place to do it.
Yes.
Now, do you do outreach anywhere else?
We do. We actually go out to Rotary meetings. We've been doing a lot of that lately, and they're more interested in our presentations on identity theft, because they're not really the targets for most of these other things, as far as phone scams, whatever. Because people of our generation, typically, if they don't recognize the number, they're not going to answer the phone. Whereas the seniors are more likely to just
we're used to that.
Used to that. So we do that. It's mostly like evening programs when we do that. But it's definitely getting out there, and then before each presentation, we do talk about the Sheriff's Department as a whole, so they know what we do.
And you give them things to take home.
Yes.
Because they're not going to go back onto a website and probably look at it. Not as many of them will. I always did wonder too, is these awful scam people that do this, I'm calling from the IRS and we're going to come to your house and arrest you. Do you ever catch them? Do you catch these people?
That's a great question, and I think a lot of people wonder that. Very frequently, these they always should be reported. That's one thing that we want to say. Yes, we do track those down. We work with local law enforcement, the state police, federal authorities very frequently get involved because, as you can imagine, with telephone lines, computers, it's very easy for that to cross state lines. So jurisdictional questions come up. But also, international borders are oftentimes crossed. So we work very, very closely a lot of times with our federal partners, not just the state level, and they'll work internationally with Interpol, they'll work with Scotland Yard. And one of the things I like to say and remind people of, especially when we're talking to the seniors, is never, ever feel embarrassed by having been victimized, because I tell them also that these people are fantastic.
Yeah, they're good.
My identity was stolen, and I don't know how that happened, but I got some letters in the mail that said, you know, congratulations on your credit card or your loan, and
Yay,
so I want them to know
$100,000.
Yeah, and it's important for your audience to know as well that this can happen to anybody.
Anybody, absolutely.
And the most important thing is to report it, because we can limit the damage that victim will suffer, but also prevent it from happening to other people.
And who do you report it to?
Well, we would report it to local police. You know, we report it to the state authorities. The DA's office works very closely with us on these things. And very frequently, when we get something, we're not the first. So they'll know about that. And it's interesting to note, because a lot of times, you know, it's not just the IRS or Social Security. We had some scams going on a while back that were indicating that the sheriff's office was coming to arrest you for an unpaid
There was a
tax.
warrant. There was a warrant for their arrest.
And of course, that's not true. And we put
You'd never do
information
that.
out. But we do work very closely with local, state, national, federal, and international people, and we do catch them. You know, and sometimes it's way offshore, but
And we actually ask them to report it to the FTC as well, ftc.gov, because they actually track the stats, and they actually will keep a running tally by state of what the latest scams are, so we can, you know, keep track of that also. So when we go out into the county, we can say this is what, you know, is going on.
And I assume that you'll let the COA directors know the process. So if a senior doesn't want to report it themselves, they can come to the COA and say this happened to me, and they'll help them report.
Right. Yeah. Either the director there at the COA, the staff at the COA, or they'll put them in contact with us. Or similar staff at the DA's office.
Perfect. Okay. Speaking of robocalls, you guys were involved with legislation to ban robocalls?
Correct. Yeah, there was some federal legislation. Lori was good enough to grab some of the press reports about this. You know, but in this day and age where we see so little cooperation, especially at the federal level, in Congress on anything, that they are coming together and starting to coalesce around bills that will ban this robocalling. Drives us bananas, all of us,
everybody.
crazy. You know, legitimate or otherwise. If I want to talk to somebody, I'll generally pick up the phone and call them. I don't necessarily need to hear 100 times from all these.
And this is on cell phone as well as your landline?
Cell phone as well as landline.
Which is great.
Yeah, and that's a great point that you bring up too, because many people are foregoing landlines and going only with cell phones.
Just cell phones, absolutely. Another thing you did that fascinated me was you have a program that provides seniors with picture IDs.
We do.
Because once they can't drive anymore, right?
Right, they need a form of ID, particularly if they're out and about, or even going for a walk. It's just for security purposes. If anything happened, to know where they live, who they are. And so it's a great resource. So we go out, particularly at health fairs, and we provide senior IDs for them, and they can wear them on a lanyard, or they can carry it in their wallet. And it's just a second form of ID. They can have it with a license if they like, just, so they don't have to carry a wallet around, or they can use it instead just for safety.
Was there an emergency number on it or anything like that, so that if something happened to them and somebody found them, they could, from that ID, they could find out who to contact?
Well, their own personal information.
Okay, so just like your license would be? Okay.
Yeah, but as far as an emergency contact number, no. And that would normally be a 911 call if something would happen.
Okay, that's awesome. And their picture IDs, and where do they get them?
They get them from us. We do them on site.
Okay, so you go to them.
Yes,
you make it as easy as possible. Perfect. Let's talk about this safety assurance program, which is fascinating. Who wants to outline it, what it is, and who it's for, and how it got started?
Okay, so the safety assurance program has been around, I'm not quite sure how many.
Oh, God, the safety assurance program, I want to give a shout out to former Sheriff Peter Foreman, who
I
know,
back.
that was going way back. Sheriff Foreman started this program, and way back when it was called Are You Okay?
Okay.
And we had to change the name because apparently that was copyrighted. We have upgraded several times since then the software and the equipment that do this, but yeah, that goes back to the early 90s.
So what is it? It's a program that makes a phone call.
Yes, and it's definitely underutilized. We would wish more people would get on this this system. So it's for people that live alone.
Yep.
They can be, elderly people or just people that may be maybe disabled. And it would basically call them at a designated time, anywhere between 6 a.m. and noon time.
Every day?
Every day,
Okay.
unless they're away, and they can, let us know that they're going to be away, and they won't receive a call that day. And so it's an automated service. So but there is an attendant there
Somebody's
listening. Yes. So they will receive the call, and then they'll hit 1 if they're okay.
Yep.
They'd hit 3 if there's an emergency and you need to call 911.
Yep.
And then if they hit 5, it means that they would like the attendant to call them back.
Okay.
So typically, if they want them to call them back, it's because they're not going to be, they're going on vacation.
Yep.
So they want to let him know. So they will call back, and that will occur. So if they don't answer, the system will generate a second call. And if they don't answer again, it'll generate a third call.
Yep.
By the third call, if they don't pick up, then their next of kin would be contacted.
Okay.
So it's a great resource. It does save lives.
Yep.
And it's, as I said, it's
Can
definitely.
you give me an example of how that service saved a life?
Sure. So there was a gentleman suffering from a stroke, and he received the call, and he was able to hit number 3, and then they called,
Wow,
they called
he's
911
lucky that he could do that.
Yeah. To come. And also there's sometimes where there's individuals that are not feeling well, and so when they're getting this call every day, they'll maybe hit 5 and say, I'm not feeling well today, but I think I'm okay. And then they'll just, the next day call them again. And so that's happened a couple of times as well, where someone has been sent over, 911 has been called because this has been a consecutive issue where this person hasn't been feeling well.
And this can be an augmentation to the people that have like the lifelines and the buttons that they wear that they can automatically push themselves. Those are private.
Yeah, it's a great augmentation to that. And the nice thing too about this is, normally, as Lori says, it's next of kin that would be notified.
Yep.
But they can have anybody if they don't want to bother their family. They can have a neighbor who could come over, and that's frequently the case. It's important that people understand that we don't scramble the cavalry immediately.
Sure.
We ascertain what the nature of the issue is, and oftentimes the issue of a call that goes unanswered is someone's golfing.
Yeah.
Which is
they
great.
didn't put in their hearing aids.
Yeah.
Well, they're in the shower.
Yes, that's
Right.
another thing.
Yeah,
They can't hear it.
They can't hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
it's a great program, and it's not just for seniors, for anybody that finds themselves in a situation where they're home more often than not.
And how many people right now are utilizing this service?
There's 110 on the service right now.
110 out of all the 26 cities and
Yes.
Out of half a
towns?
million
Out of half a million people.
inhabitants,
Okay. So clearly people don't know about this.
So what we hear from most seniors is, I'm not ready for that yet.
Oh, I'm not ready for it. Okay.
That's what they say.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But this is free, right?
It's free.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it's just they look at it as it's a loss of independence.
Sure.
Because they feel like I'm still living alone. I
Yep.
don't want
Yep.
that. But it's a preventative.
Yeah, sure. And they can opt in and out at any
Correct.
time,
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely.
Okay.
And I like to, when I speak to the groups, I like to tell them that, look, it's not a surrendering of your independence. It's an augmentation of that independence.
Absolutely.
And if you're not going to get it for yourself, you're not ready for it because you don't need it.
Yeah.
But guess what?
Your daughter
It's
wants
going to make
yeah.
your family feel a lot
or your
better.
son wants you to get it
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Do it for them, not
Yeah,
do it for yourself.
exactly.
And like you say, it's free, so they should.
They absolutely
Yeah.
should. And if this got really big and you had 500, 600, 700 people on the service, you still have only one person that's monitoring those phone calls, or would you have to add?
Well, we would probably
Your
have to
staff at
add
that
people
point.
to that,
Yeah.
But the equipment that we have is certainly capable of doing those types of numbers.
That's great.
Yeah, we would
It
just.
automates them pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you do anything special if there's a hurricane or a blizzard or does anything else happen in a case of a weather emergency?
Yeah, we do. We have reverse 911 capability that is available to all of our towns. And actually, not only do we do Plymouth County, we also do Bristol County as well through our communication center. So yeah, we do those. A lot of towns have their own system, but ours is available to any town that wants it.
That's great.
And it's not used for bake sales for the
Yeah.
PTA. It's only for public
Yeah,
safety stuff.
right.
Usually things like road closures and
Snow emergencies.
Yep.
snow
Okay.
emergencies. Yeah, so we do that too.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So if people want more information about this, they're going to go to pcsdma.org, which is Plymouth County Sheriff's Department of Mass.org, right? And you can get all the information about all the things that you do and all the programs that you run.
Absolutely,
Yes.
yeah.
This is great. Thank you so much. This is valuable information, and
Thank
we'll
you,
make
Julie.
sure that we share it all over the place.
Thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.